This over there is martial arts master Akusawa Sensei demonstrating a lunge get up with a sudden stop. Can you see why there is a stop? In this video, we will look at the mechanics and requirements for the lunge exercise from a martial arts master's point of view, from a traditional fitness trainer point of view, from a young generation fitness trainer point of view, and how these motions are used in other fields, for example, modern dance. But before we look at these professionals, please allow me to introduce my own point of view, which is both functional and humanistic. I look at the lunge exercise get up as a functional way of movement to come from sitting or from sitting on the heels to up to standing, all the way up to standing. Like here, I am already demonstrating this movement, and this is not slow motion. This is just, I make this movement so slow that you can see the different parts of this movement, and so we can break it up and you have a very good understanding. You can get to know my point of view, but you can also maybe understand more deeply the involved mechanics and requirements. Let's just jump back and look at this in slow motion. So the first thing I do is to come forwards see, my weight is on the heels. We can see this in the side view very good. The weight is on the heels, and then I bring my pelvis over the knees. So now my weight is over the knees, and I bring my toes to standing. This I need in the next movement when I push up from kneeling to standing in a moment. But let's go back. What happens next when I'm on my knees? The next important motion is to shift the weight, and that's something that is little understood and some people try to ignore, but it is a requirement. I need to shift my weight from the center, or 50-50 on both knees, over to my right leg. And you can see very clearly there's a side bending, and there could be a side bending to the right, which is even better, or to the left, but there needs to be a side bending to accommodate this movement. But because I do this really slowly, I side bend to the left, and then the left side shortens, which makes it really easy for me to lift the left foot. So see, there's no weight on the left leg. The left leg is free to move, and I bring the left foot to stand. But what needs to happen next? Of course, the pelvis needs to shift over to the left. It's because I want to come up and I want to have my weight distributed on both legs. So I need to shift the weight to the left. But it's more functional to bring more weight on the left. And then the toes are already standing. So I just push against the floor with my toes. I push on the foot on the floor, and then I can take the step. Let's look at this last motion from the side. So here the leg is standing, and I bring my weight forward onto the left foot. And fitness professional might think, oh my God, what is he doing? You can see, oh no, the left knee is coming forward. The left knee moves over the left foot, almost, doesn't move over the left toes. But this is a functional movement. So we're not trying to target the leg muscles and giving the leg muscles a really hard workout. No, this is different. We use this to smoothly float up from kneeling to standing. And the target is to bring the weight of the pelvis, to bring the pelvis further away from the floor. And if you look at the mechanics, the biotensegrity structure of the human, it totally makes sense. More than anything, when I want to take a step, to have this motion of coming forward. So we are not finished yet. So weight shifting and side bending, that were two important concepts to accommodate this functional movement to come from sitting to standing. But the shoulders, big overlooked topic. The shoulders are also part of walking. So now I pretend to be walking, and I start this movement with my left shoulder backwards because I'm going to bring the weight over the right leg. So we're coming from the shoulder backwards, and then the weight is shifted. I shift the weight onto my right leg, which means when the weight is on the right leg, the left shoulder needs to come forward. It's like an oppositional movement. And then when I bring the weight onto my left leg, the right shoulder comes forward. So when the weight is on the right leg, the left shoulder is forward. When the weight is on the left leg, the right shoulder is forward. And you can see this makes this whole motion so much easier. And it looks just very natural, doesn't it? It looks so easy how I go up and down, and I don't play this in reverse, but it is just that easy to come up when the whole self, with all its emotions and sensations and movement, is involved. And then, of course, I can do the same thing with the right foot standing first instead of the left foot standing. Works with both feet. Both feet are able to walk, but everyone has a preferred standing leg. And for me, it's the left one. I prefer to stand on my left foot. And here there's another get up. I included this because the martial arts master will do this as well. And so we can look at this in slow motion, this vertical get up. So I don't kneel up first, and this is really space saving, maybe in like a fighting environment where there's like people where there's real danger. It's maybe makes more sense to come up like a rocket, vertical. So I first shift the weight over. You can see I shift the weight over to my left leg to free the right leg, and then I can stand the right foot. My hip joints are a bit tight. You will see with the martial arts master, he's Japanese. He has wonderful, very mobile hip joints. So it's all a little bit tight for me, but it still works. I bring my right foot underneath the pelvis while still sitting on my left heel, and then I just press up. It's just a press up. It's really an efficient space-saving motion. And I want to include a third motion because this is kind of fashion right now, the spinal wave. I don't know, there's fashions in movement. And so this is an extension and flexion. So you can see the whole motion running through my whole spine. Fun little movement. So let's look at the other professionals. So I've watched this so many times already. He seems like a good friend already to me. So he starts with, of course, the martial arts master brings his weight onto the right hip joint. After the weight is on his right hip joint, his leg is free to move. He can bring up his foot, but you can see here, so this would lead into a straightforward motion, which probably is dangerous in a martial arts field. And then he stops this motion just here. So he doesn't continue to bring his weight over to his left hip joint. And you can see his left foot is quite far away from his right knee. And we don't have the side view, unfortunately, but you can see he's leaning forwards quite a lot. And from this position, it's mechanically very difficult to come up. He would have to really press hard with his left. So this would be a leg workout for his quadriceps and for his left glutes to come up. And even if he has strong muscles here, it will be difficult. So instead of bringing his left foot closer to his right knee, and instead of moving his pelvis properly over his left leg, you can see he's going into an extension movement. He's kind of trying to create momentum with his head to use the trajectory his head, to use his upper body to yank himself from this position. And this cannot work. Like he's like stuck, and then he would have to push hard with his right foot, but the right toes are flat on the floor. There's no way to come up from here. And that's why this movement stops. So instead, of course, he knows this, but he wants to introduce a better motion, which is this vertical get up, where he shifts his weight. You can see wonderful hip joints, like so mobile. He shifts his weight onto the left, so he can free the right foot, bring the right foot to standing very closely, and then just presses up to standing. There we are. A big thank you to the my YouTube viewer who sent me the link to Akusawa Sensei's video. Okay, let's move on to the next. And here we are in a true fitness setting with a traditional, very experienced fitness trainer, Tom Holland. He does a great job. He does it very nicely to introduce this traditional stationary lunge like in a textbook. And let's look at the requirements. What does she have to do? So first of all, she has to have this extremely stiffly held upper body. The upper body is in the center, in between the right leg and the left leg. And the right knee, of course, is not allowed to move over the right foot, as he demonstrates here. So there's very strong constraints, and she has to be like really straight. This is why I call it the elevator cabin. Ground floor, first floor, ground floor, first floor, ground floor, first floor. She's really, there's no movement in the spine. So this video has, I think, like more than 3 million views. And there's a little thing here in this video. You can see she's doing something with the left foot. And with that many views, of course, a lot of people noticed that there's something happening with her left foot. And I put the link in the description. You can read for yourself. There's like an avalanche of comments about the left foot. But let's look at her. She has to hold herself really stiffly in order to target the leg muscles and to train the leg muscles. So in a fitness exercise, they are trying to target muscles. So they, in this sense, for me, it's as a movement teacher, this is not a functional movement, but it's a movement that targets muscles. And the quadriceps, the hamstring, and the glutes. And of course, what suffers? The knee suffers. This is why the movement needs to be executed very carefully, because there is a high risk of knee damage. Because the upper body cannot twist, it cannot side bend, the weight cannot shift from left to right. We're preventing all these things in order to target a certain muscle. For what reason? I'm not really sure. Maybe to make the leg look bigger for people who think their leg is too small or something. Of course, she needs to balance somehow. And it would be nice for her to be able to have the arms out to the sides. But of course, she's not allowed to, because as Tom Holland teaches correctly, the arms need to be relaxed down, but you can see she needs to balance somehow, because the pelvis is part of a human and we need to weight shift, but she's not allowed. So you can see throughout the whole video she clenches her fists very tight, and she's a very fit person. She looks super fit. She looks very like she's smart. She can follow all the instructions in detail. She can fulfill all the requirements. She's a really great model for this video. So what happens with this left foot of hers? So first of all, it's not a wiggling of the foot, but it's a pivot on a certain spot on her foot, and she pivots in between her big toe and her second toe, and this is where the weight should be. Like if her mechanics are really well aligned, then the weight is there. So this is a great spot for her to have her weight. Another reason why I think she's a great model. And then it's not a wiggling of the foot, but it's the left heel comes to the outside, so it's pivoting around this spot where the weight should be, and then the heel comes to the outside. And this is actually a twist of the tibia and fibula, which directly affects the knee. So what I think is happening, like because her pelvis cannot move, because the whole torso, because her neck, everything is held stiffly, I think here there's a lot of pressure on her knee. And she's smart, and the foot is smart, and the foot just helps the knee not to get injured in this movement down. So I don't think it's an instability of her, but I think it's a way of her foot to save the knee from damage. And then there's another thing I noticed, like she is a human, she is a smart person, and there is actually a weight shift of her pelvis. You can see this here when I go in slow motion back and forwards. So when she comes down, she has the weight more to her left, and when she goes up, she brings the weight to her right, over to her right, where the weight should be. she has this little motion, this little swing, and you can see Tom Holland is not looking, but his body knows. It's like a little dance between them. It's like as if he would pull with his hand on her hips. You see, it's a little swing of the hips. She's a human. She's not a machine. She's human. And this is why she moves her hips. Great video, great video. And then in the end, she comes to stand on her preferred standing leg, which is obviously her right leg. And the left is the leg that she prefers to move. Maybe Tom Holland has his left leg, like me, myself, I also have my left leg as a preferred standing leg. Let's move on to the next video. So here we have Scott Herman. I was looking through a bunch of lunge exercise fitness videos, and this Scott Herman is really determined. He really wants to do the textbook version of the stationary lunge, and he's the best version I found. Like, he's really determined.
But what happens to most people is that one side of the hips stays a little higher than the other side, which creates a left to right pelvic tilt.
So I just took this snippet so you can see he's like super fit, and he knows how to engage his core, and he has like this great body control. His core is fully engaged while the arms are free to swing, and his neck is free to move, and he's going into the lunge like a transformer from outer space. He transformed himself into this cabin, into this tight upper body where it's supposed to have no movement. And see how he really prepares for his move. And then he of course it's the same thing. In order to lift his left leg, he needs to shift his weight onto the right hip joint. There's no other way to do it. In order to free the left leg, he needs to shift the weight to the right leg. And when he keeps his upper body stiff, if he keeps it like a cabin style, elevator cabin style stiffness, then all the movement needs to be in the right hip joint, which already puts stress on the right leg, of course. So he has his weight onto his right leg, then he takes the step forwards with his left leg to catch his weight with his left foot. When he takes a step with the left foot, he needs to catch the weight with the left foot. And this implies, of course, that he needs to shift his weight over to his left leg. So he side bends a little to the right just to prevent the hip from hiking. But if he has good mechanics, this needs to happen, and it does happen. So you can see weight shift from right to left, and ideally there would be a side bend to the left to accommodate this movement. But and of course you can see there's this little weight shift, the pelvis needs to move, and he's like, this is not going to happen. But of course he has a well-functioning nervous system, he has a very well-trained body, and this is just the mechanics of the human. And this is why I think this is such a funny exercise, to use a lot of willpower to do something to prevent who we are, in order to train the quadriceps, hamstrings and glutes. So you can see I don't think this is as good as it can get. And still we have the hip hiking, and that's not a bad thing. That's a good thing that shows that we are humans, and it shows it is a functional movement that's meant to bring us from standing to kneeling or sitting down, or from sitting on the heels to up to standing, all the way up to standing. But it's not all fitness. I said I'm going to show you how this can be used in dance. So that's yet just another point of view. So of course these girls, I mean, this is a kind of workout too. It's like super intense what they're doing, but it's the same movements. It's shifting the weight from it's dance. So you're going from one leg to the other leg and back to, and that's what we do in dance. Shifting of the weight and side bending, and And here she brings, so that's what I want to show, she brings her weight, moves her weight over her standing leg. So the right leg is the standing leg. So she shifts the weight, and there is a side bending. So weight shifting and side bending, they always go together. So her weight is on her right leg, which is now the standing leg, and the left leg is free to move. And you can see there's the twist in the shoulder. The left shoulder is forwards while she's standing on her right leg. And then she takes the steps. She catches her weight, just like Scott Herman. She catches her weight with her left foot, and she swings over the hip nicely. So beautiful. This is what can happen, to swing over the, and then we have the side bending here to make the left side short. And of course, when she has the weight on her left leg, the right shoulder is forwards. So she brings the weight over to her left leg, the right shoulder comes forwards, and because it stands, it's not just the right shoulder, she swings her whole arm forwards. So the weight is coming onto the left leg, the right shoulder is forward. Then she completes this move and brings the weight over to the right leg, and so the left shoulder comes forwards. Just like this is the same thing. And if you look at these videos in slow motion, like any video in slow motion about this walking and the lunge exercises, weight shifting, side bending, that's just how it is. So I hope you found that interesting. I hope you learned something about this motion, about different viewpoints on the same exercise. On my YouTube channel, I lead you through gentle movement sequences that are both functional and humanistic. All movements and movement sequences are connected and lead to making you feel better day by day.